Good morning. Thank you all for joining today. You're joining the Future of Projects. This is a webinar focusing around the construction industry. My name is Rick Anthony. I'm the Vice President for the West Region for Evosys. Also on the phone will be our presenter, Bruce, and he is our Director of North American Pre-Sales. And also supporting him will be John, which is our Global Engineering and Construction Lead SME. So we'll start this in just a short minute or two, but I just want to give you a bit of background on the future of projects and why we wanted to discuss that today. So we understand through our 90+ construction engineering customers that we recognize that you're a project-run business. It's very important that you understand where your projects are at any given time. And I think in today's world where innovation and speed of time is critical to the success of your business, but also to the profitability, you have to have certain systems on the back end and the front end that integrate, that talk to each other, that have the ability to give you real-time information, things that connect your financial system, your HR system, your procurement system to projects, but then also your CRM system where you're looking at managing bids and your estimation tools, all again working in conjunction with your project system. So today we're going to be looking at how we might be able to do that and how other companies are doing that in the construction engineering industry and how we've helped them to have the ability to have a single source of the truth. Okay, so let's go to the next slide there, Bruce. So today's agenda, we'll talk about the construction profile, but before we get into that, we'll also talk a little bit about Evosys to qualify why we're on the phone today. We'll talk about challenges, what the solutions out there are, the specialized solutions that we've helped to create. We'll also do a case study and a win story. And then we'll also talk about innovation. We'll explore innovation, things like IoT and asset monitoring, knowing where your equipment is, but more importantly, whether it's being utilized and its availability. And then I'll also explore the connected worker for health and safety reasons, knowing where they are, if they're wearing what they should be wearing on site, where they are on the site, if they're in restricted areas. So we'll go into that in a little bit. And then we'll talk about what next, and then go into questions. If we can just talk briefly about Evosys, and we'll go to the next slide, Bruce. So there's a snapshot of Evosys. So we've got well over 1,000 cloud customers on a global basis. And those customers range from various different industries. And we also have presence within 30 countries. So for instance, this webinar today, we had 10 different countries register for this event. So we are truly a global organization. And we're putting a high focus in the North America, where we've seen growth over the last 2 years of 300%. Experienced consultants, well over 1,200 on a global basis. And our solution covers 7 of the different pillars around Oracle. So that is the ERP, the CRM, the HCM, PCPM, all of the areas in the pillars. So we are the one partner to go to for the ability to implement all those pillars. And what brings us to today is our 90+ customers. Currently, we're looking at about 91 construction customers we've had on a global basis, and with 60 domain experts spread out throughout the globe as well. So, one of the things that we are very well at is with those 1,000+ customers, we've created a center of excellence. And that center of excellence allows us to be competitive in our pricing because we understand what your industry is. We understand and have that configuration in place. So we're not starting at square one every time we engage with customers. And that allows us to implement faster and quicker, but also allowing us to understand your industry and your business. We'll talk a little bit about value-based delivery later in the presentation. And also we'll go through our expertise around our PaaS extensions. These are business process extensions, not specific to Oracle, where we fill the gaps. Let's go to the next slide. So those are just a few of the awards we've won over the last 2-3 years. This year at Oracle Open World, we won 3 awards: Global HCM Partner of the Year, EMEA ERP Partner of the Year, and then in APAC ERP Partner of the Year again. Okay, so let's go to the next slide there. So here's just a broad range of our customers in the construction engineering space. We'll be taking a couple of these and going through a case study and a win story later in the presentation. There might be some names you recognize there, and that list is continuing to grow. So at this point, I'll now turn it over to Bruce.
Okay, thanks, Rick. Once again, Bruce Kozlowski. I've been working in the Oracle space here for well over 25 years. And during that time, you know, I've had the opportunity to work with some of Oracle's largest customers, and especially in the engineering, construction, or industries where projects certainly plays a major role, right? If you look at the vertical overview of what happens really within that space, right? Generally speaking, we have a main contractor, and that contractor may or may not go out and find subcontractors or go out and find equipment to actually execute on their projects for their customers, right? That main or general contractor may also provide design services. So it could be something around engineering if you're redesigning roads, designing bridges, or building large structures. They may provide, you know, that type of service as well. And of course, they can also have more of a facilities management maintenance a solution around that. They may do things around retail or retail facilities, managing those facilities for real estate, different companies, right? You may also have really within this whole vertical organization the ability to have a principal or a developer. We call them a developer. So those would be the, you know, the folks that are actually developing. Could be a shopping center. It could be apartment buildings, things of that nature. So that's really the you know, components that we typically see in the engineering and construction space, and especially you know, organizations that deal with subcontractors and they do some type of project work. Okay, so some of the major challenges that we see really within this sector, and we've been really focusing on these types of customers for about the last dozen years or so, is as you look at engineering problems, and I kind of like this pictorial. It talks about some of the issues that that these types of organizations have. And if you focus on the information kind of in the middle, this is typically what you're going to see as challenges in any one of these organizations. So how do they really align with their customers and their subcontractors that they bring in? So not every organization provides every service that they need on a particular construction site. So oftentimes, again, they're bringing in specialists to do work. It could be an engineer, it could be an electrician, could be you know, somebody providing a material like a concrete, something like that. So it's really getting all of that put together and then actually looking at your cost, your schedule, and being able to manage those resources going forward. So oftentimes you see a lack of resource planning. The site supervisors, the superintendents that are actually out in the field working with customers, they oftentimes have a lack of visibility as to where their equipment is, where their people are, and where their subcontractors are. Right. So that's some of the key things that we bring really to this whole market. There's also a financial aspect to that as well. So how productive are the people that you have working on that particular project? How do you manage the payments back and forth between your own employees and the subcontractors that you have actually on site? So we've developed some solutions around that fit kind of hand in glove with the Oracle applications going forward. So when we talk about, really when we look at these different issues that this industry has, we can kind of look at a couple of 3 areas that I think that are very critical for these types of organizations that do a lot of project work, that have engineers, that have people out in the field. And really, one of the keys is around change management, right? And really, change is the only thing that is a constant in any business today. And it's a key role. And how do you really solve those business issues with everything changing? One way to do that is really to adopt new technology. And we'll take a look at some of that later today on how we've leveraged Oracle technology to really be that agent of change. And when you are looking at technology, looking to do upgrades around technology, it's a real key to keep current. And we'll look at a couple of pieces of technology that Oracle provides. As Rick mentioned, to being able to have a connected worker, to be able to have connected equipment, so you can actually find where things are. You can see what people are actually doing. And it goes back to the previous slide on some of those issues that engineering and construction firms have around how do they manage, how do they understand where everything is, and how does that guy out in the field know where his equipment is, where his people are, and to keep him updated on his particular schedule. Okay, so we've created some solutions in this space. We can take a look at the overall solutions and the key components within any construction industry. So if you look at probably from the left-hand side, there are tools that Oracle provides that we have pre-built for this industry, where we're looking at leads and analysis and the opportunities that any organization has. So oftentimes a construction company does have certainly people out in the shop or out in the field working on things, but they also have engineers, they have project managers that are working with prospects, that are working with customers to get the new project on tap, right? So they have a certain need for sales tools, and they may have an estimating tool as well that they use. We've interfaced into many of those estimating tools for customers in this space. If you look at the center part of this particular slide, it's geared around management, right? And where we look at the ability to start a project, start it at the right time, and being able to have the tools in place to actually execute on that project. So some of the key pieces that you need are, a good supply chain system. So something like the Oracle's procurement cloud is a key to have the folks out in the field being able to request and get the materials that they need to go ahead and execute on that particular project task. We've built and used interfaces into Primavera for project scheduling, and the Oracle Cloud financial tools to do really the scorekeeping at the end of the day, because the C-suite in any organization wants to make sure that the money that they are expending on any particular project is going into the right place, and they want to see the return on their investment. Now, if you look at some of the boxes, this brings us to the orange areas. These are some of the accelerators that we built. We'll take a deeper dive into some of these in just a second. But we've built some solutions around subcontract management, and again, that's for the supervisors out in the field, the one working with the particular customer, to making sure that subcontractors are kind of on site, they're being managed and paid properly, right? We also have solutions around equipment management, and we'll take a look at some solutions that Oracle has, some technology that we've leveraged in the area of Internet of things, the IoT world, to understand where your equipment is, how it's being utilized, and being able to get feedback from those particular pieces of equipment, so we know how they're running. We've developed solutions in the banking area to making sure that some of those subcontractors are paid, or there could be retainage, there could be other fees that need to be captured and accounted for. We built solutions around that as well. We also have material request management, and then specific construction engineering billing management solutions, right? Then we look at really the ability to have that supervisor, that superintendent, the foreman out in the field, being able to look at and manage his people. We've created what we call a snag list, or some folks will call it a punch list, of the particular tasks or some of the things that actually have to be done today. So we can provide that task list that goes out to the supervisor on his handheld device. Could be a tablet, could be a ruggedized laptop, or really his phone. So he knows that these are the things that need to get done, and you can constantly communicate with that supervisor out in the field. And that's all rolled up in the Oracle Cloud Financials and the human capital side of that. So we have complete visibility to everything going on within that particular project. Here's some areas of coverage that give you a little bit more detail if you want to look at that business area about how we do leads and opportunities. We can create that lead using Oracle technology to do that, and have that information flow over into an estimating system. Currently working with a customer today. They do projects, but it's more in the automotive space, and this is what we're building out for them, that lead creation, the opportunity, so it can go out to their estimating tool for new work. Right. The project initiation. So how do we go about actually, creating that project, creating the plan, doing a work breakdown structure? And we have detailed processes. We have detailed pre-configurations that we use within the Oracle Cloud to be able to enable that. Right. Then on the project execution side, cost control is huge. This is where the C-suite that they really want to see what types of labor is being expended, what type of materials being expended on any particular task, on any particular project at any time. And we've developed some solutions that enable the speed of that to go up to the project, so you can see your budget, see how it's doing against the actual, and you can get what's really important is the percent complete at any time during that project. And to kind of round this out, we built some contract billing areas where we can look at statements of work. We can quickly evaluate and do what we call a variation order, or a change request to a particular project. So we have that built in with the appropriate approvals. We can look at any advances or recovery, retention, and retention releases. So that's all the financial components going back not only to that the construction company's own finances, but also to the contractors that they may bring on site. We've pre-built some areas around the project closure and maintenance. really being able to understand and being able to close out a project quickly using that snag list or the punch list that can get handed over and to show the customer that, yes, we had 50 items here and they're all taken care of and you should be ready to go, right? And we've also again, created the bank facilities and the interfaces throughout receivables and payables to be able to track this type of work. So if we look at some of our vertical-based solutions, this will dive a little bit deeper into some of the platform as a service, or what we call a PaaS solution that sits on top of Oracle. And the keys to these solutions is they look like the Oracle Cloud, and they fill a need that engineering and construction companies, people that are doing projects, can use with the Oracle Cloud. So some of the challenges here, if we look at a solution for subcontractor management, some of their challenges again are being able to align those subs with the project, and to being able to get that a supervisor out in the field, the appropriate people to work on the tasks that need to be done at that particular time. So we have created solutions for that, being able to get them to pay, taking that out of the world of Excel. So we built solutions around that. So if you look at in the center of this particular slide in orange, the purchase order with a variation order. So we can quickly give the supervisor out in the field the ability to do that. He can look at his agreements, he can look at and see where his subcontractors are, and he can review any penalties that he may incur or that could be incurred by his subcontractors, and the charges and the retainage that would be available to use at any one time on these particular projects. Really, the value to the customer is financial information, being able to see them up front, and being able to digitize this whole end-to-end process. Typically, what we see in small and large organizations is there's a lot of paper still being used, there's a lot of spreadsheets being used, and they really don't use the formal system that they may have. But we have the ability to leverage the Oracle Cloud, to leverage some of the extensions and the accelerators that we've built, and then being able to interface and integrate into third-party systems that particular customer may be using. So that's one of the things that we do. So if you take a look kind of along the bottom of the screen, we have a subcontractor portal where that subcontractor can kind of dive into the solution, take a look to see what his next task is, to see when he's going to get paid, and to see dates that he needs to have all the work done by. If he can't do that, he can see what his penalties would potentially be for that piece of work. He can also look at and confirm work confirmations and pay certificates, that being that if a particular task is completed, he can see when he is actually going to be paid. For that subcontractor can view that on that portal. And here we have the ability to do a retainage release for that subcontractor going forward. Okay, it's a real key in this particular industry. Holdbacks are just about everywhere, and at the end of the day, the organization, the subcontractor, really wants to do a good job, fulfill his tasks, and get paid completely for the work. We also have built out some banking facility solutions for bank management. Some of the challenges here is to actually create a letter of credit or a letter of guarantee. And those could be for variable terms of different loans that you have on a construction site, or things that are going on with that particular project. So we need to understand what those balances are, and also see if there's any penalties. Again, that retainage comes back into that. So we've built solutions to record letters of credit, letters of guarantee, and we have that in the accounting system. So so the contractor can see that, the project manager can see that, and any subcontractors can also see kind of where they are in that whole system. So we have security around that, so only specific users can see things that are specific to them. And we really maintain this status. It's automated, so they can see that through automated dashboards in banking facilities that really come to play within the dashboards. So the value to the customer is again really huge. So we can see where he is in the payment cycle, when he is going to be fulfilled for the tasks that he's been working on. So the real key is subcontractors want to do a good job again, and they want to be paid as quickly as possible. So from the banking dashboards, they can see that. Internally, you may be able to see a loan or a loan guarantee that's been granted, and then we have a mechanism to actually record letters of credit and letters of guarantee going forward. Okay, we'll look at that snag list. So down at the bottom, we kind of talked about this as well. This is the snag list or the punch list of activities to do out in the field. So we create that list, and we can send that out to the supervisor as long as he has connectivity back into the system. Most places have that nowadays. So it gives him the ability to check the items, to assign team members going forward, and really get approvals done by maybe on the project manager, and making sure that all of those things are complete. So the real key is to be able to look at what needs to be done, get that information, and then do a smooth handover to the ultimate customer. We have a request for material. So again, the key to any construction project is the $10 part that's slowing everything down, because they particularly need to have that so they can continue work. So we give and have created a specialized fulfillment solution for requests at the material site. So we tie that right back into the project, and the real value here is being able to do these electronic requests out in the field. Better control of your project, better control of your resources, and making sure that people have the materials and the equipment that they need to execute on that particular task. Okay, we have also developed a solution for customer billing, and we leverage the Oracle Cloud Projects area, and we've developed an application for payment. So customers can take a look at this, where we prepare actually the work confirmation. So essentially, it's the approval for the tasks that have been created. We can create that customer billing record. If there's any advances or deposits that have been made, we reconcile all of that, and we track really the retainage based on the contract terms that were established when the work began. Okay. So here we can capture and deduct work, what's been confirmed, and look at if there's any penalties or deductions that have to be made. So this gives you really the client, the end customer, the construction company, an efficient way to look at their customer billing and to making sure that everything ties back to that particular contract. We also have interfaced and integrated into scheduling applications, Oracle Primavera being one of them. Business Craft is another scheduling application usually used for home building, and we've interfaced to that and other ones. But that really gives us the ability to use those particular systems that do the detailed scheduling to be able to show that and get that out to the people out in the field. So we use a logical sequence here where we're building these integrations to make sure that the workflows that are created, the authorizations that need to be done, the approvals cycles that happen within any particular project are all created and taken care of from these planning applications. We also have an equipment area as well, and it's a solution for equipment projection. We'll look at actually at the Internet of Things solution that Oracle has, the ability to understand where your equipment is and what it's doing. So we've created a master equipment list. We can create equipment budgets and plan for that using some of the Oracle tools, and we can have the ability to actually create a request. So if you need an additional backhoe or a high lift or some piece of equipment on a particular job site, we can use this solution to do that request and have that put into the system and have a real-time reporting of where the equipment is and how it's being utilized. Okay. So reporting capabilities. We have pre-built reports that we have created that we look at engineering costs, and we can see what the original cost was, what we may have estimated it going forward, and where we are at any particular time during the project. So we evaluate that, and we have these pre-built dashboards and reporting capabilities that we leverage the Oracle applications. We look at cost and revenue and the budget analysis with that. We have some pre-built EPM reports that we use that looks again at budgets and current revenue coming in, and we can see how we're executing against any one of these particular projects. Project and contract performance. How are we doing against the particular contract? What's our performance? Where are we within the cycle? And we can look across projects as well. So we can see, how well we're doing. The physical percent complete. You can see the dashboard that we have on the right-hand side of the particular screen. It's evaluating 3 different projects. So that may be specific to the project manager. Those are the ones that that particular person has responsibility for. He's just started on a couple of them, and he's got Warner Hotels is just about complete. It's approaching 90%. We can have and view the complete funding history of any of these projects as well going forward. Okay, we'll take a look at a couple of case studies. This is a organization, EEI Corporation. They're over in Southeast Asia. Large construction organization, 23,000 employees. At any one time, they could have well over 100 different projects going on. They've done things like rebuild the Manila, well, not the whole thing, but the Manila airport in the Philippines. They do road building, construction projects for structures, and they've currently involved in the metro train project for the Philippines. Okay, their lines of business cover everything from construction to real estate management. They rent equipment, and they do fabrication for other organizations as well. You can take a look at some of the different projects that they've done, and we've completed our work there. We do have some ongoing work as well, but we've really completed the implementation of Oracle, the Fusion Cloud. And we've put in some of our engineering and construction accelerators for them. So they put in the financial solution, supply chain projects, and they have our subcontracting solution as well. Even though they have 23,000 employees, they use a lot of subcontractors in the project work that they do. Okay, Some of their benefits are we built a integration for them to a planning system. They use Primavera to do that, and we have some specific reporting and dashboards that we've created so they can see how they are doing against that particular project. Since they do a large number of subcontractors on any one of their particular projects, we've built out and continue to work with them to put that subcontractor solution in, everything around the financial side, what needs to be done on those punch lists or snag lists, and if there's any retainage or things of that nature that need to happen, we take care of all the financial aspects of that as well. Okay. So really, when they started with us, they had some key objectives. You can take a look at some of those, but it was really about managing the ongoing projects that they had. So one of the keys that we created was again working with their scheduling systems and being able to give them a better way to track all the subcontractors that are on any particular project. So the solutions that we built out for them was really on the subcontracting process, interfacing into planning systems, and really being able to streamline their whole procurement process. Dealing with 100 different projects, obviously that could be an issue for them, making sure that the right materials show up at the right job site at the right time. Another customer that we're currently working with, we're actually in the conference room pilot stage, is really M Group, and they're a global construction company, and primarily they do work really in the I'll call it the power transmission space. So it could be electrical, could be oil and gas, but these guys are the ones that make sure that if there's large infrastructure that needs to be built, they're the guys that do that. And again, a global organization. They primarily have, I would say, most, if not all, of the Oracle cloud applications, and they have taken from us as well things around subcontractor management. Again, they don't do everything, but they do have a lot of subcontractors, and the ability to actually get and have a billing solution for the customers that they have. So they're doing that. Okay. Some of the objectives that they're looking at is really to focus on their core business, right? To look at their systems and to see where they lacked integration and interfaces going forward. So that's why they picked Oracle Cloud, and that's why they picked Evosys to help them on the path of getting these systems up and running. So they do have some expected results. We'll probably have some go live notifications next year on this. But the real key is for them to become more connected, more efficient, and to really have a single common data mile or data model, and to have information in one place that they can use to manage the business. Okay. What I'd like to touch on next is some Oracle technology that I think is really exciting when you look at the ability to monitor and to understand what's happening in your organization. And we've leveraged Oracle's Internet of Things to do things like asset monitoring. So we may have organizations out there that want to know what's happening with the equipment in the field, so we can monitor that. We can understand what's happening really within production. So as things are going on the shop floor, if it's a manufacturer, we can see how well the assembly lines are running. We can monitor fleet equipment. We can really monitor any types of equipment as well. They could be construction equipment. Oftentimes you'll be driving down the interstate and you see a backhoe sitting there. 2 weeks later, driving down the same interstate and the same backhoe is sitting there. Oftentimes people forget where they put their equipment. So now we have a way that can show that organization where all their equipment is, and it saves them certainly from renting like equipment, or actually being able to go out and take that and get better utilization out of what they have. And also the ability to have a connected worker, to understand where that particular worker is within the organization for his own health and safety. So if they need to be on a job site, we want to make sure that they're in the right place and they haven't stumbled into a hazardous area. So when we look at asset monitoring, here's a pictorial of in this case a building, and we can have different sensors on this particular building, so we can understand what equipment we have there. We can look at the overall health and how we're actually utilizing that. So we can connect into other sensors, and it could be equipment that we need to maintain in that particular area. So getting vibration, getting temperature, getting runtime, and then having that drive other capabilities within the Oracle Cloud in terms of maybe a maintenance for something that needs to happen within that particular piece of equipment. We can also get real-time access to see where our equipment is. So this shows us that having these sensors on, I can see where my assets are. I can see how they're being utilized, kind of down at the bottom of this particular screen, and I can zoom in to see that yes, we have some in Los Angeles, up in San Francisco, and in Las Vegas. So how's my projects running? What type of equipment do they have on site? And I can get information on that as well. So just by navigating on the map, I can drill to a specific work site and see all the equipment really that's there. So by drilling into that particular site, I can come and look at the Oracle campus. Here I have equipment on site, and I can see exactly what it's doing. So I can search by an area. I can search by an equipment type or where that is, and being able to actually quickly identify those particular assets. I can use some of the technology that Oracle provides to be able to do this. And I can see information that is relative to those particular assets. So little box at the top, I may have a group of assets that are circled, and I can see the utilization on those and how available they are, and actually if there's any open incidents, and maybe it could be a request for that equipment, it could be a service that needs to be done also on that piece of equipment. We can also integrate with Oracle's EAM or asset maintenance application. So if I do have equipment out in the field, I can have these IoT sensors on there. So if I know that there's a condition that is out of specification, out of tolerance, I can have the system alerted that something needs to happen with that particular piece of equipment. And I can see that I can track its location to see exactly where it is. A lot of times we see this in work that we do in the medical field, where we would put IoT sensors on equipment. So you need to know where particular pieces of equipment, could be some diagnostics or test equipment, things like a wheelchair in a hospital. You can never find them when you need to. So we have the ability to tag those things and understand where they are. And we can also then integrate the asset information and use that in the system. So I can see what's going on with this particular piece of equipment, and I can see where it is. And I can integrate all of these sensors across the board and get operational reporting out on them. I can also have sensors on my workers to keep them connected, so I understand where those things are, right, and where they are, and exactly what they're doing, to making sure that they're not in a place that we don't need them to be, So I can see that in this case, I have 5 workers. They're working on 2 different projects across a group of locations. Okay, so just with having a sensor on with a worker, I can understand that if there is an issue at any particular job site, a problem with that, I can see the people that I have there and exactly what they're doing, making sure that they're out of harm's way as well. Okay. Oracle also has a engineering and construction and innovation lab that's in the Chicago area, and they've asked us to work with them at their next meeting, and I think that's in the spring. Is that correct, Rick?
Yes, that is. That's going to be for MBX, a modern business exhibition, and that's scheduled for Chicago in the springtime. We'll be having an event at the lab where we'll be offering tours of the site. We'll get this deck out to those participants today, and you can go to the link above, and there's an interesting video that shows quite a bit of the innovation that they've developed specifically for the construction engineering space. It's quite interesting. It's fun to watch as well.
Okay, very good. So really, what's next? What we look at, and we can do for most organizations, is go through a readiness assessment where we look at, and we can do an inside of your business. We can have discussions with your stakeholders, understand KPIs that are meaningful to you, do an evaluation of those, and actually build a business case on how we can go forward with your Oracle product suite with the accelerators that we've built. Generally, there's then a decision point. We can take a look at what's the right solutions, what pieces of the puzzle do you really need, and then help you work with you to design really what the phasing is of taking the technologies that we've looked at today, whether it be components of the Oracle Cloud, things that we've built out, or using some of the other technology pieces as well, and build that into your business system. We're here to help you align on what those KPIs are and really implement that solution to get the best benefit out of Oracle and Oracle technology. And we can work with you to look at and how to implement and get the most objectives out of your business. Again, being able to scale the applications and being able to leverage the technology to get a better outcome for your business going forward. Next, we can talk about really why Evosys.
Thank you.
Yep, go ahead.
Thank you, Bruce. So here's a little bit more about, and this recaps a lot of what we discussed today in our presentation today. And I really do hope you saw value in it, because when we speak to our construction engineering companies out there, we find that there's a lot of disparity between systems, and there's not one truth. So we've developed these extensions, and we've got 90 customers, and from that we've built a center of excellence, so a repository where we can refer to when building your solution, so that you can understand. We've looked at best practices, not specifically for the software, but for your industry. And we'll utilize our various experts on a global basis to do so. They'll be pulled in where needed to, and they'll be deployed on site or remotely as a need be. And you've seen the solutions, the extensions to mitigate the gaps of a cloud system, and we've developed those past solutions for the industry, and those are easily configurable for your business as well. Now, with those specifically, it's easy to demo those. That's our IP. So if there is a question or need to understand it a bit more, that's not a problem. We can schedule a demo date and go through that through a WebEx that we're going through today. Part of what we deliver on also when we look at our solutions is specific reports for the E&C industry. So there canned reports specific to your industry. When you look at Oracle Fusion, they've got well over 300 canned reports. It's difficult to find which ones will be relevant to you. We've already pre-populated those for you. Again, you know, based on our Center of Excellence, we've already loaded the instance and are able to utilize them to build the scenarios and structure for your particular environment. Again, different varieties of financial and procurement structure is going to be needed specific to your industry. So we'll look at that, and that's already pre-configured. So your chart of accounts, item category, asset categories and such. And we've collected that through working with our various other customers. And again, you know, we'll deliver the solution document, the user manuals, the test scripts, we'll deliver all that. And what this does at the end of the day, and this is what's key to understanding why the Center of Excellence is important to you and our customers, is this reduces time to go live, and in turn reduces costs. So having someone that understands your industry, understands your configuration already, is going to reduce costs of the implementation. So there's one last slide, and before we get into that slide, I'd like to take a moment that if anybody has any questions, please use your GoToMeeting dashboard on the right-hand side to raise a hand so that we can answer any questions that you may have, or use this time to type in any questions. So one last slide here, if you want to go to that. Bruce. Thank you. So I talked in the beginning in our introduction of Evosys, our value-based delivery. And here's what we do. This is a sample of how we deliver our projects. So first off, all our projects are fixed priced. So that takes quite an understanding of your business, but understanding of the project to do so. So all our bids give you the confidence that we know your environment and the scope of the project. Okay. Now, what we also do is provide a value-based delivery to that. So there's this on the right-hand side here. You see milestones, and these milestones are also attributed to a commercial element as well. So upon signing on these various milestones, that's the only time you'll be actually paying on those invoices. Okay. So while we go through the Insight program, one of the things that you saw on it that Bruce described was understanding your KPIs. What does good look like? How is that going to impact your business? So we defined those KPIs in the beginning during that Insight program. We were helping you to develop the business case and the TCO. We'll assign a certain commercial element to those KPIs. And if agreed, we will then attribute that to a commercial element to the project. So we'll have a certain total figure attributed to that KPI attainment. And that really says to you that we will put our own skin in the game in making sure this project is a success. So I hope now you understand a little bit more about the solutioning around the construction engineering space. I hope you understand a little bit more about some of the value we bring to our customers. And I encourage you to